In today's video, we're going to discuss another classification of property rights or real property rights, and that is water rights. Now, in a previous video, we discussed hereditaments, which is another classification of real property rights. And if you want to check out that video before you watch this one, and it may be a good idea to do that, I'm going to put a link right up here in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, a little eye. Go ahead and click on that and watch that before you watch this one. All right, water rights is a big deal in the United States of America, as most of you probably know already, but there are three legal doctrines that we need to talk about, and they are our key terms, our key real estate terms for this video. They are riparian rights, they are littoral rights, and another right called the Doctrine of Prior Appropriation. Now, most states east of the Mississippi River follow the Riparian Rights doctrine, and most states west of the Mississippi River, they follow the Doctrine of Prior Appropriation. And there's some substantial differences between them. So let's talk about riparian rights first. Now, a couple of things. First of all, riparian rights deals with a river or stream that the property is adjacent to. Who owns the water? Where is the property line? Those type of things. And there is a priority system over the usage of the water, because under riparian rights, no one owns the water itself. So let's take a look at what I'm talking about here. So we have a river or a stream that's running, and we have a landowner here. That's the boundary line, and a landowner here. So under riparian, no one owns the water, all right? But everybody has a right to use the water. They just can't deprive people downstream of it. And they cannot dam it. They cannot change the trajectory of the water flow. So it's basically no one owns the water and no one can hoard the water. So that means everybody has access to it. But the boundary line, the property line, is interesting. If this is a non-navigable river or stream, and what I mean by that, commercial commerce. So for example, the Mississippi River, the Missouri River, the Ohio River, those are exempt from this because they're federally owned waterways. But let's say this is just a stream. The boundary line actually runs out to the middle of the stream. The water flows over it, and both owners are allowed to use the water. So for example, this owner could jet ski here and this owner could jet ski here, and there would be no trespassing because they're on the water. Now, if the water dried up and the land was exposed, this owner could not go over here because then it would be trespassing. Kind of interesting. Now, here's the other thing to remember under riparian. As I said, there is a hierarchy of the usage of the water, and household usage has priority. So if there's a city or town down here that uses that for drinking water and those type of things, then this water would have the township would have priority over the usage of that water should that be necessary. So that's riparian rights. Real quickly under riparian, let's say this was a federal waterway like the Mississippi River, and your land was adjacent to it. Then what would happen is your property line is either the high water mark or a statutory offset. Many of the rivers have a federal offset that it's basically 25 or 50 feet from the low water, or from the high water mark. So you probably don't need to know that for a test, but for illustrative purposes, I wanted to let you know. The second one we're going to talk about is littoral rights. Now, littoral rights is if your property is adjacent to a lake or an ocean, for example, Lake Michigan or the Pacific Ocean, then your property line ends at the high water mark, or the high tide mark. That would be where it ends. And then the last one we're going to talk about is the Doctrine of Prior Appropriation. Doctrine of Prior Appropriation simply means the first owner to the water has the rights to the water. They actually own the water. So let's say we have a couple of properties here. And we have a stream running through it like this. All right. So we have Rancher Tom and Rancher Sally. Under the Doctrine of Prior Appropriation, Tom owns the water. Now, Tom has some privileges with that ownership. Tom can deprive Sally of the water as long as it's for legitimate use. So, for example, he could dam or divert the water this way to water his cattle. He just couldn't do it because for whatever reason he hates Sally. There has to be a legitimate reason under the Doctrine of Prior Appropriation. The other thing that Tom cannot do here is he couldn't divert the water because let's say rancher Sam up here has a herd of cattle and he's having a hard time watering the cattle. So he enters into an agreement with Tom to divert the water to Sam's property so Sam can water his cattle. That also would be inappropriate use of the Doctrine of Prior Appropriation. So just keep that in mind. It has to be for personal use. But in our scenario, in our case, Tom does own the rights to that water. So those are the three legal doctrines when it comes to water rights.